It's me! Welcome to the last final episode, 365 days in a row, episode 365, and I couldn't think of a better way to end it than an interview, or a chat, whatever you want to call it, with a man who personally has helped me get to have fun in wrestling again. Lenny, thanks for doing the show, man. Whoa.
The pleasure is yours.
It definitely is. And I promised something special. Lenny come through. This is just meant to be. And so let's take it back. I know a lot about you personally, and you've shared some good stories, but at the same time, there's a lot I really don't know about you. So, did you like wrestling as a kid?
I loved wrestling as a kid. I first started watching wrestling, AWA. Used to be on Winnipeg. So I had like Bobby Heenan family, like late 70s. I'm really old.
Like, you grew up in Kitchener?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And so you were like, yeah, we only got a wrestling challenge on Saturdays, which was like the job matches.
Yeah,
WWF.
no, so
I never had, even the video stores, they only had WWF.
We used to get AWA, so I get to see Minnesota, like the Minnesota matches, and in the Winnipeg arena matches. So anything that happened, Sheik had down Al Casey was one of my favorites. I always like the heels, like Bobby Heenan, Bobby Duncombe, John Studd. They're always trying to get Andre. That was the kind of stuff. And then we also got locally the BC All Star Wrestling from.
Oh yeah, Tomko or something.
Yeah, Al Tomko, Al Davis, the J.R. Bundy, Spider Webb.
They started it up again, All Star Wrestling. Like they revived the promotion out there.
So when I was a kid, that's what we used to watch. And then I have two younger brothers, so not only did we watch it, we reenacted it.
Oh, for sure, yeah, like fighting in the basement or on the couch or whatever. And did you ever go to any shows? Didn't they used to run Kitchener?
The NWA came to Kitchener, and the match that I remember going to the most was the Road Warriors versus the Russians. But Hawk had broke his leg, so it was Paul Ellering and Animal versus the Russians. Ivan Koloff and not sure if it was, I forget if it was Nikita or the other one. Anyway, so we went there, and there's these kids that were in the. I had decent seats, but I wasn't on the floor or anything. So then these kids brought in all these flags. They were painted up like the Road Warriors or whatever. And during the chain match, these kids jumped the rail.
Oh my!
And like they got the crap kicked out of them, and then I don't know. I've been hooked ever since. Like,
jeez, and like, did you keep any of like those old programs from when you were a kid? Any
no,
poster or anything?
No, I was always trying to get backstage. That was our goal. Me and my best friend who lived across the street, we would go to Brantford to the WWE tapings as well.
Oh right, yeah.
And we used to always try and get backstage because he hated Hillbilly Jim, who's going in the Hall of Fame. Oh, so anytime his song would hit, we would leave the arena and go and try and get backstage and like hold the Iron Sheik's Coke or like meet ST Specialty Delivery Jones, like that kind of stuff.
Like how did you just
we just acted like we belonged there. So
you actually did get backstage?
Well, we'd never get into the locker room. We did get to the court. Like there'd be guys, working out in the back, getting ready for their matches and stuff, and they'd be out there, and the fans would be able to get towards them, but never, So
I can see that. You've always been like a hustler. Like,
yeah,
you always can get your way into things, or you're like a salesman too, or you just make you seem like you're supposed to be there. I never actually knew NWA ran Kitchener area.
Yeah, it's because it was Maple Leaf Wrestling, I think. So they used all the different promotions, right? So Angelo Mosca was there, Jimmy Valiant, that kind of stuff. So Kitchener, like this area, Toronto area, was different because it didn't have the rules of the territories. It was its own territory. So then you'd find.
Like the athletic commission, you mean?
Yeah, well, no, not that. I'm sure that was different too. But like you'd see Flair, like a WWE guy versus a NWA guy, because it was Tunney, right? So he'd book whoever he wanted.
Oh man, because a lot of them had restrictions. They could only use guys from.
Yeah, like today, you're never gonna see guys working for other companies unless you work for them, right? So.
Yeah, like even in the '90s, WWF used to send guys down to Memphis or the Smoky Mountain and stuff, but they don't do that anymore.
No. Well, there's nowhere to send them.
Yeah, no. I did see that they had some kind of like working relationship with like PWG or something, and they had Regal go there or something or something like that.
I was just making stuff up now.
Hey, I can't go through the Facebook without all these news stories of sites that I'm not even subscribed to, and it's like, you like this, you're gonna get this. So, like, were you a big, like, collector? Did you have, like, action figures as a kid?
Yes.
Or the games?
Yes.
Or
and I had everything. Like, LJN Rubber Wrestling, that was my favorite. My brother collected the Hasbro ones because he's a bit younger than me. So that was what we collected. And then as an adult, I collected them.
Like, do you still have a?
I still have them all.
Oh, nice. Did you ever read like the magazines or any of that?
Of course, I went to flea markets looking for them when they were buying up the old ones. Like, I had the whole collection. I still kept buying them. And I just became an obsession.
Jeez, man. That's probably worth a lot. Do you have like a man cave or you have everything?
No, it's just all packaged away. Yeah. I did have a man cave. It was called Planet Leisure. It was a store on.
Right.
Yeah.
And but before that, because that's kind of how you got PAWA. But before that, weren't you like 16 when you started booking, pretty much? Like when you got into ICW.
Yeah, I started at the Hart Brothers School of Wrestling. I went there looking for a job because I think I was 18, and then and I was trying to get a job, and I was looking through the paper, classifieds. That's how I used to look for a job back in the day.
Yeah.
And then I found they were hiring a salesperson to sell advertising for their shows. So I went there and I met your buddy Ike Shaw.
Oh, did you have experience doing sales ads? Or?
Of course not. I just pretended I did.
Yes. Did you have a fake resume drawn up? Or
I had a resume. I wouldn't say it's fake.
Oh.
I had jobs, but so I went in there. I said, yes, I can do whatever it is you wanted me to do because someone's got to try and go out there and sell advertising. And actually, it was pretty good at it. I sold like advertising to Domino's.
For like the shows?
For the shows, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So, but it was easy because at the time we had big names. Bundy, he was bringing in Bushwhackers,
Tatanka, Hammer Valentine.
Yeah, so I just worked in the office. I had nothing to do with wrestling. And then until things started developing more. And then people figure out who this guy really was, and guys show up, guys go away, guys lose $5,000,
Yeah, we had a big we made a list one time after I'd been there a year, and there had 200 people that had come and gone and paid their money and like left, some of them within a week.
Yeah.
And no refund. Yeah,
and there's other stories you don't even know about because there's guys that show up and lasted 2 days,
Yeah, see, I got there in 2000, so you're like 95 or?
No, 90. It wasn't that long. It seems like, so it was like 98-ish, I think. Yeah.
Okay. But it was still ICW.
It was ICW, yeah.
Okay. And so what was your initial impression of Ike?
He was very smart, like for what he did, but you didn't realize that how much of a asshole he was until the end, like until you got screwed, right? Like you just thought this was part of the business. Like I was green, I didn't know, right? So I didn't know what the difference between. He was a hustler, and he taught me and other people how to be even more of a hustler, right? So
he was good at what he did, I will say that.
Our first show at Preston Arena, it was sold out, right? Like we had names and that, and we turned people away, and it was awesome. But it just kept going. You think you're getting to this place, and then we book a tour, and then we got buses, we got all these things, but realizing behind the scenes, like the bills aren't getting paid, and like that's the stuff you find out after the fact. But
he's making so much money, but it's like
it's not going into the business, right? So you don't. At that time, we didn't know, like, and I spent most of my time with Waldo Von Erich, so.
But it could have been huge, though. Like,
well,
if he invested back into it, like, he had something there.
Yeah, there definitely was something, because there was a missing thing. People liked wrestling. They liked the way it was, but there wasn't available. There was only 2 companies at the time. There was barely any indie wrestling, because there's a Ontario Athletic Commission. Yeah. So you couldn't run a show without paying all this money to these people.
Like when I started in 2000 through Hart Brothers, and he had switched the name to ACW, there was like 5 promotions running in Ontario. Yeah. And I was lucky because they ran shows too, so my first like 5 shows was through ACW. Yeah. And like Waldo, you mentioned Waldo, he was too early for me. Like I didn't know how great he was until I went back and watched him or heard the stories from him. But what a nice guy! Like he was
super nice man. And one of the best, my favorite Waldo story is we were at a show somewhere either between Owen Sound and Sudbury. We were doing a little spot show on our way going on tour to Moose Factory, and a bunch of the guys that had been wrestling that week on the tour had got hurt for different reasons. So we were kind of short on card, and he's like, "Well, I'll do it." And then he must have been in his 70s, and he had his gear with him. He put it on. He put a hood on.
Bring his gear.
That was the one thing he told me. No matter where you go, anytime, any place, always bring your gear.
Jeez, like you hear legends of that stuff, but he's been retired at this point for like 15 years or
Yeah,
something.
and this is a guy who sold out Madison Square Garden, and now he's working a gym in Owen Sound for in front of 200 screaming high school kids under a mask, calling himself El Tigre, versus Dan Kinerick, Killer Kinerick, great guy. And,
oh yeah.
And he did. All he did in the ring was like old school heel stuff, and Kinerick just bumped all over the arena for him, and it was amazing. It was the best match of the night.
Oh, I can believe that. He had such great psychology.
Yeah.
Like I was always so scared and nervous to bug him.
Yeah.
But then when I actually worked up the courage, he was so giving. Like he gave great advice, and he was into the back stuff too, because I'm a hunchback, and he like invented back machines and stuff.
Yeah, that was his thing. He would love chiropractic stuff.
Yeah.
So we were always going to chiropractors with his chair that flipped upside down.
Yeah, that used to be in the school.
Yeah.
I used to use that every day, and he had like this massage bed, but they had like cut a hole out of it, and then they had like a motor that made the cushion keep going like this and like massage. So you just lay there, and it'd be like and you could do different speeds and stuff. It was awesome. Yeah. I use that thing every day. And so you were selling ads and stuff. So when did you start being a part of like helping out the shows? Like, we need a ring announcer.
Yeah, well, that's what happened. I'm there because everybody's like everybody who's part of it. The guy who drives the bus, everybody's there for the shows and things, and people don't show up. So then, like Waldo said, have your gear. Well, my gear at the time was a suit. So put the suit on. We need you to ring announce. Okay, I can do that.
Throw you in there.
Yeah. Well, you watch wrestling your whole life. In my opinion, you should probably be able to ring announce because you like was the main thing when we were kids. It's like Howard Finkel, Gary Michael Capetta. Like you pretended to be that. You pretended
in the '80s. What was her name?
Yeah.
Like with the blonde girl. She had the Undertaker.
Yeah, everybody has that voice inside them, that high pitched scream voice that you play action figures with, that you do.
Yeah. I didn't.
If you don't have that, you're not a wrestler. Sorry.
So but you do have to be good at public speaking, and I would say you.
But I was afraid to death of everything. I still don't like public speaking. I can't stand it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Because like in person, you're like the gift of gab. You're like the wonderful person to share stories with.
Yeah, but I don't really want to. I'd rather be the witty guy in the back cracking jokes. That's what I like to do.
Sarcastic comment or something?
That's right.
Jeez.
That's why I like the locker room.
When did they start saying, hey, you might as well come on the tours then? Like,
well, then I just went on the tour. Yeah, then like, okay, well, you're the ring announcer now because why are we paying this guy when we're already paying you for other things, right? So now I got two hats and then so you make friends along the way and then we went on tour and stuff like that and for quite a while and we did different shows all over.
And you Ontario. Had like a bunch of the developmental guys from WWF coming there at that time, right?
At the time, USWA went out of business. Lawler did, and internet was new, so I was on the internet every day in the office because we had everything.
How'd you deal with the chain smoking for Mike? Like he had like 3 packs a day.
Like... I used to keep a filter in my mouth just so it was like I was smoking.
What? Jeez.
So when USWA closed, then I'm like, well, let's call WWF Canada and get Carl DeMarco to come down and look at our gym and say, and we have we had a big map on the wall that had all the spots we were going to go to. And then we worked him to say that we're going to this town, we're going to this town, we're going to this town. And then he's like, well, we can use other guys. So then I just started calling those towns, we're coming this date and such, and we're gonna have this tour.
And that was the bus with the beds on it, right?
Yes.
Because when I got there, they just had it in storage. It wasn't used anymore.
It was more. Yeah,
it
was
blue one, right?
The blue ICW bus that had like bunk bed. The back end was all bunk beds, and then there was 2 seats in the driver.
So when
I drove that bus once in a snowstorm in Sudbury with a trailer. I don't have a bus license.
Being like that, you were only 18, probably 19 going on now. How were the old timers to this young ring announcer fellow?
Everybody was kind to me, like like people play ribs, but nothing harsh. Like,
nothing malicious or anything.
No, I mean, Bill Scully set me on fire once, but it was fun.
What? And not in a match?
No, in a hotel, but it's fun.
Oh.
It's because I wouldn't get up. I was tired. I was ready for bed, and he wanted to keep partying. It was a good time.
To party with. Yes. And do you have any funny stories of maybe the veterans getting mad at someone? Or?
No. The reason I stopped ICW and Hart Brothers School of Wrestling is because when we got back after the tour, when we were up there, I ran out of money myself. And I'm like, well, I need pay. I know you've been pushing it off, you've been pushing it off. I understand, but we just got paid, so I know you have the money. And he wouldn't give it to me. So then,
right?
yeah. So
was
then
it always Ike that was in charge?
Yeah, he was always in charge of the money. Yeah, and then he wouldn't give me the money, so I got in one of the, we had two Winnebagos, the bus, and I got in one of the Winnebagos and drove back from nonstop from Timmins, and went back to school, grabbed my stuff, and left.
Oh wow! He still, when I went there, we went to this camping thing. It was kind of right Brantford at like one of the reserves or something. He still had the Winnebagos there.
Oh yeah.
It was right on the river there. And he bought us beer and everything, and he spent like $200 on KFC and never came out of his Winnebago.
Yeah, that's how I became the bookers, because when we went up to Moose Factory, he didn't. I guess we got paid, and at the time nobody knew that with all that patch that we thought was nicotine on his arm was morphine.
Yeah, yeah. And you're supposed to take like one a day or
yeah,
something.
so I didn't know anything about that, and at the time, so he was locked up in his room, so he wouldn't come out. And then they're like, "Well, what are we doing?" Well, I guess I'm the booker now, so like.
Like you're banging on the door and I don't come out?
Nope, we won't come out. And so then I just made matches, right? So.
Nice. Did you get any heat for that? Like, who's this guy booking? Or I don't want to do that finish.
I got a little bit of heat from the champion at the time, because he didn't want to do the 3 shots that we decided we were going to do. He didn't want to do it. So.
Wearing bumfuck nowhere too, like not being filmed for TV.
A paid show, yeah.
Oh jeez.
So.
Was it just because maybe they were like, oh, this young guy, or did that really mean that much to these guys?
I don't know if anyone ever considered me as a young guy. Everybody was kind of young that was there. We had old time wrestlers like Sailor White and that, but nobody disrespected me in any way. Like it was fun. I wanted to be there. I felt like I was part of it, and I wish it still existed.
Gee, me too. Like. For all the bad, there was more good, I think.
And the story grows with legend. Everybody thinks it was a long time. It wasn't actually a short period of time that place was in existence, right?
It really started going downhill in about 2004, 2005, I think. By 2006 it was done. Yeah. Because he started letting people that weren't wrestlers live there and selling drugs, and he just stayed in it. He got the other apartment that was somebody else's. He got that one for himself, so everyone was just left to the...
Yeah, so that was my extent in the wrestling business. I was done. I was been in the ring announcer, and
that's like 99 or so, or
2000. 99 to end of 2000. That's it. I went and got a job, got a Mrs. Lilac, and hit the road. Like that was it. I was done.
Did you miss it though? Like, were you still a fan?
Yeah, and then I started following the ECW stuff. I really liked that. My brothers and I used to go on road trips to Buffalo all the time.
Man.
So we went to all the Buffalo shows. I still loved it, and. I was never a fan. As a kid, I always preferred NWA, AWA style wrestling. I didn't like the squash match kind of stuff, although I like to do them now. But I didn't
like the big guys, and
I liked
like WWF was just kind of big guys, good versus bad, right?
Yeah, I more preferred the Southern style, like the telling of the story, rather than like Ric Flair was my favorite at the time, like that kind of stuff. So you take a little piece of every guy you ever liked and you try and make yourself into that, right? So
nice. So you never at that time considered, hey, maybe I should get into wrestling myself, or?
Well, I used to fool around in the ring during the days because there's a bank downstairs. You weren't allowed to make noise, right?
Yeah, it was Scotiabank. Yeah.
So I used to fool around in the ring and stuff, but I didn't really have I was more interested in the business end of it than that.
But you never approached any other companies and said, "Hey, I could be a ring announcer." Or,
no, because after that I kind of had a sour taste in my mouth that everyone's just going to screw me over for money, right? So this point in my life I need to start having.
Yeah, you got a family.
I didn't, but at the time, I need to get one. I need to buy a house. I need to buy a car. Like this is what I thought you had to do to be a person, right? You had to
that's the norm.
So that's what my goals changed from being. I had my taste of the wrestling business. I'm not going to be a wrestler at the time, so I'm going in a different direction. So
were you athletic? Did you play any sports?
I played baseball hardcore until I was 18. I got cut by the junior Dodgers in Kitchener, so a high level. And then I played. I was good at parlor games, bowling, darts, pool, that kind of games where you make money.
Oh yeah, the card shark. I can see you like that.
Poker,
oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't so good this time. Want to play for money next game?
Sports and those kind of things, hockey, that kind of stuff came easy to me, but I never had the drive to be.
It was just for fun, then.
What fun is to me is executing and playing properly, leading to victory. I can't. I don't play well with others.
Oh,
like I
you're
want to
very
win.
competitive?
Very competitive.
Jeez. So what at this point? What was your goal? Like just have a good job, or did you have like a dream? Was
No, I don't know. I don't think I had a dream or a goal like that. Like I was in whatever I was interested in at the time. Like it seems to change my whole life. Like 5 years at a time. Like right now I'm really interested in being a pro wrestler. 5 years ago I'm really interested in being a poker player. You know, just.
And you were like a video game guru for a while
Yeah,
too, were you
yeah.
not?
It
Like,
goes through. I go through stages. Yeah, I worked at a video game store. I had a video game store. Everything to do with video games at the time, and then I lose interest and then go to the next thing, whatever that is.
nice. Imagine where you're gonna be 5 years from now.
Hopefully still here.
So as a
You
legend,
wanna
no, I got some black cherry pop in there, and it tastes like cough syrup. And it's one of those 97 cents 2 liters
Nice.
compliments or something. Ugh.
Big money. Well, since we lost the tag belts, we can't afford things. Nice things.
Yeah, well, exactly. I was gonna get new pants.
Yeah.
Well, that's out of the question. I did get a new string though. So, as legend has it, did you not have this store and meet like Eddie and Jeff Black or something?
Yeah,
like
we
that,
had
or-
so we had a mutual friend. His name was Matt Lees, and Matt Lees worked for me at I had my own toy store, and he was the ring announcer for PWA at the time,
really?
and at Elements. And I'd never been to the Element shows, but my brothers used to go and tell me all the time, "Oh, we go there and we heckle this guy. He's always in the opening match. His name is Jeff Black. He's just garbage."
Yes, I used to do the Element show.
Yeah, he said this guy's just terrible, but it's so fun to make fun of him. We go every time, so that's why they would go.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
And so I never gone, and then Matt, I went one time because Sculling was on the show, so I wanted.
I remember that.
And so I went to that show, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool.
I think
actually.
he wrestled Warhead. It was the only time he came to Elements.
Yeah, and so I just said hi to him and hung out a bit, and I bought a ticket and I watched and I thought it was cool, and that nothing came of it. And then Matt was the ring announcer. He's like, you should come to more shows. You should come to more shows. Actually, I'm going to bring these guys to you because maybe they can put their poster up in the window of our store and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
for
right?
sure.
So, and I was cool with that. So they came and put their posters up in their store, met me, hung out around a bit, and then we started doing we just hung out more. Like they used to come in a lot, and I'd offer different things as a sponsor. Like, okay, I'll put my name on the tickets, or I'll do this. Trying to get them more business, whatever. And then they invited me one time do you want to come and sell? Because I sold wrestling figures and stuff at my store. Do you want to come and sell them at the show? So that's
Have a merch table.
Have a merch table. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I did that in Lucknow or somewhere crazy like that.
Oh, jeez.
And I did good. So I'm like, well, when's the next one? Let's go that. And then I just kept doing that. And then the very first Carrot Fest, I went there and I made a fortune because I sold everything I had.
Oh, there's tons of people.
Tons of
there.
people wanted to buy merch. It was amazing. And I wasn't doing anything other than that. And then they're like, well, do you want to do more? You want to manage someone? And I'm like, okay. So I just started. I can't even remember his name. Ryan, his name. He was a young kid that they were using.
The guy from Storm's place?
Yes.
I know who you mean.
Yeah.
I can't
So
remember either.
you want to manage him? Sure. And so I bought some crazy pants, outfit. I dyed my hair blonde.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because my hair is not naturally black. Surprise.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Well, I never watched you change it or
Yeah.
anything like that.
And so then I managed him, and then I just kind of like that. This became what I was interested in. I was like, the store was the store, and I'm like, on the weekends I'm going with these guys, and we're going all over Ontario, Niagara Falls. They needed a driver, and I needed to be involved with something. So.
Jeez. I have to ask, just to put myself over, do you ever remember seeing me at any of the Elements?
Yeah,
shows?
the one Element show I saw, I was hanging out with my brother and Matt, and you wrestled someone and they chopped you. So I forget who it was. We're like, who is this bum? Like,
Yeah, no, the
and
door,
we're
yeah.
like, but you took so many chops that must have been like 50 chops. Your chest was bleeding, and we're like, that guy's cool.
Oh, nice. That's awesome that
Yeah.
we actually met and didn't know it, kind
Yeah.
of, technically.
Yeah.
Same place, same time. And then years down the road, here we are.
Yeah. And then it just became going forward. I managed different guys throughout wherever we went, and then it was like I'm managing 5 guys on PWA show. I'm out there every match. It's ridiculous. And then they're like, well, now you need to have a match. like
Yeah, the storyline.
The storyline.
It was the Lilac family. It's kind of behind you here.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
it became the.
Yeah, like I had a group of guys and Sarge, Jimmy King, Derek Platinum, those guys, and it was so fun. Like it's so fun. Every show was so fun. And like from the back to the front, everything was great. And then it was just like, okay, well these guys just start doing their own things and retiring. Everybody left and left me standing. I'm the only one left.
Yeah, fair enough. And then you got some old guys like me that start popping around again. Yeah. It's like the recycling.
But I didn't really change anything I did. It just, like now I was the bad guy, the heel, whatever, and everybody hated me, right? Because like the most reaction I ever got, and then they just started liking it. And then I didn't change anything I did.
I know, I wanted to work you so bad, or work even if you would manage someone, because you had such great heat.
Yeah.
And then by the time I finally was about to do it,
they're cheering.
You're the biggest face in the company. Yeah. Like what?
That's the best part about wrestling, in my opinion, is you don't have a choice. You don't. It doesn't matter how good or how bad or how strong or how fat or how whatever that you are. You don't get to choose. You don't get to choose whether you can. I'm the best wrestler there ever was, but you don't get to choose if the fans like it or not.
It's organic.
Yeah.
That's better like that when it's not like just pushed down their throat. Like
and when it's pushed down the throat, a lot of people will reject it. So you can try as hard as you want. You can think you're the most important person in the world, but it doesn't matter because you don't get to choose.
Oh, well, I remember.
That's why I like it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And like I remember I'd stopped wrestling due to family problems and whatnot for about 2 years, and then I came back and watched there was a show where you guys bring in Tommy Dreamer, and there was a show that brought in Carlito, and I was like thinking of making a comeback, and then when I seen the Alpine Club crowd, I was like, and I had this idea for my character in mind. I'm like, this could work at this venue. Like they respect like that old school. They like characters.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with you too. I was like, wow, who's this guy? Like he's controlling the crowd. Like he has them in the palm of their hand and everything like that. So I was really impressed, and I remember someone did an article after I did come back, some lady, I don't remember who it was, and I'm putting it over because she put me over in the article, but she was like, this guy needs to, this Lenny guy needs to be on TV, like he's, and it's true, like you have such a presence out there, you're unique, you look, no one looks like you.
No, but I don't get to choose it, they just decide that if they didn't like it or they don't want to like it, they're going to make their own choice. The funny story, this last show that we just did, there's a guy sitting in front of a family member of mine telling the story of he said he knew me when I was a kid, when we were in high school. I recognize his face, but I didn't know him. He was a bit younger than me. But that's the best part about wrestling is he was telling the guys he was with and the kids he was with that before in high school I was a skinny stick of a guy, really small, and I was a really good athlete or whatever, but I hurt my foot. And so that's why I got so big. Like, so he developed my character for me, for these people. None of it is true.
Really?
Yeah, but that in his mind it was. Right? So like, oh, there's Lenny. Yeah, I knew him from high school. He was a really small guy, played football and stuff, but he hurt his foot. That's why sometimes he doesn't wear boots.
Oh my God.
So that's amazing. Right? Like,
the crowd's working the crowd.
Yeah. So the crowd they make you. I don't make me. Right?
So what kind of, nowadays, what kind of fan are you? Still a fan of the old school wrestling telling stories?
Yeah, like lately I'd rather watch WCCW, like the Kerry Von Erich stuff that's on the network than the current product.
Yeah, no doubt.
I still watch it, but it's not whatever era you started in, and can I put an example for you that you started in, that's what you'll like typically, because that's what made you a fan, right? I like realistic, heel, dirty stuff. Like the more realism in it, the more I'm interested in it, right? Because you buy in. Just like when I started with PWA, all your guys, everybody in the locker room stories are all about what the stuff happened in the early days, because that's when it was the golden ages for you. So for guys coming in afterwards, we weren't there, so all those stories to us are like, oh, shut up.
Exactly.
Yeah,
about that.
Yeah, but that for you guys, that was the Element eras. This was the golden years. So all your stories started at that point.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That's why it's interesting for you guys. So
yeah, any of the memories, and we're all gonna look back on this time. I'm sure in 5-10 years we're gonna look back on it so fondly as well, right?
Hopefully.
I agree. But so you became a face and stuff like that. Do you ever feel like you get jealousy from the other wrestlers? Like, here's this guy he doesn't do as many moves as me, or
I don't do any moves. Yeah.
do you feel like you
No,
think people are upset by that?
If they are, they can't. That's their problem. I don't care if they are. Really, like, I'm not trying to steal anybody's spot. I'm just doing what I think is the best for me to make the audience have the best time. Because to me, the best wrestling is whoever puts on the best show. Like, I don't care if you can do one move or you can do 1,000 moves. Whoever sells the most tickets and puts on the best show, that's the guy.
Well, yes, because that's who they're going to come back for, right? Yeah.
You can be the greatest in-ring performer ever, like, athletically, and you can't sell a ticket. Like, to me, it's not, there's no investment in there. Like, it's not part of it. It's not what this is about, really. So.
And I think there has to be a mix. Like, you can't have 7 5-star matches on the card, or you can't have 7 comedy matches, or 7 hardcore, or you can.
And 5-star matches and those kind of things are subjective to what you like. I don't like one of the best matches I ever saw. In my opinion, only because I was there. You know, I've rewatched it, and it doesn't like Masato Tanaka versus Mike Awesome. It was they just destroyed each other in Buffalo in front of me, and the crowd was so hot it made it the best match I've ever seen.
Oh, they had an amazing feud.
Right, but if you watch it without the music and without the stuff on the network, it doesn't seem to hold up like the same way.
Probably blank out some of the chants and stuff too.
And some of the things that it's just the way you feel at the time, right? So.
Yeah, and if you're invested in them
Yeah,
too, like if it's just a cold match and you've never seen them before, you might not.
No,
like
you don't have all the backstory. You didn't have the build to get there. Then it's not going to make sense to you, and that's why I think we do well in our shows is because most of our fans have the backstory to get there, right? Because we've been doing the same thing for a long time, trying to build up our crowd.
And you have like a core roster, so it's familiarity too.
Yes.
Like you see someone enough, even maybe not in your case, but some people like. They may be a heel, and you see them for 3 years. Eventually, you just grow to like them, just because you've seen them and you end up respecting them.
This is the guy I came to see, right?
So what's your take on this too? Like, if okay, you're not in the main event this show perhaps, and so you just said I don't do any moves really. Isn't that better? So when they do get to main event and they see all these moves, if all the matches before have already done all the moves that the main event is going to use, then they lose their impact. So don't you feel like you are a good I don't know, kink in the wheel or whatever, because you're not stealing anybody's stuff.
A wrestling show to me should have an arc, because it's art. So if you get started, you have a starting point. This is introducing, say the beginning. You're introducing rules and regulations of how things work to a new audience, and then you just build and build and build from there. Like, if you don't understand the whole concept of the game, because every time you have a show, you're gonna have fans that are brand new. They've never seen this before. They don't know. It happens so many times. I've never been to a wrestling show before. Like, I don't watch on TV, but I showed up here, and this is so great, right? If you don't tell a story arc, then they can't follow. And why are you gonna come back?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it really is great entertainment for people that haven't been to like a wrestling show. It's way different than what you see on TV if you do watch it on TV.
Yeah.
Because you're live and in person and it's
interacting, right? It's live sports theater.
Like you can't go to a baseball game and like.
You can. You go there and start yelling at the fans.
But they're not gonna turn and like change the match because
Carol
of
Strawberry
you.
to start crying.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. But they're not gonna turn around and like heel back on you or rip your sign
exactly.
Like they just play. The fans don't influence anything. It maybe gives them a bit more adrenaline, and like for me personally, I always was so hard on myself, and I always like took everything I did so seriously, and just like I'm a perfectionist, so then I would never end up having fun because after every match I was always so hard on myself and disappointed, even if it was a good match. And you really taught me just to have fun and just look at the positive, which I will always be grateful for you too. But you've helped out a lot of people too. It's not just me, and because you have great ideas and like just giving them ideas for their characters or for their story or just being positive in general. Why do you like to help the new guys?
I like the product to make sense. I like it to be flowing. I like it to be hard hitting. I've tried to present, I guess, maybe what I want to see as a fan. Right, as much as possible, and I understand everybody has their own likes and dislikes, so you try and put a little bit, like, I do want a match where there's, on a show where there's nothing but like straight athletics, really hard, really fast, and that kind of stuff, and do that, but like you said, it can't be every match, otherwise
some of the kids don't like that, or
yeah, well, I mean, different generations, kids grow up watching video games, so that's how they understand wrestling is, it's bang, 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 where old-time guys who watch wrestling, it's like a rest hold, like you put a guy in a chin lock for 20 minutes and make faces at the crowd, right? Like, and to kids, someone who's adrenaline junkie, that's boring. But to someone who's not like another kind of wrestling fan, that's the best part, right? So
yeah, and
there's
some
so many
people just
styles.
like the violence, or some people like just the character.
Yeah, there's so many styles of this art form that you can put them all out there. In as long as you have a group of them together, I think you could put on a good show. If you put them all the same kind, if you try and divide them, it becomes dull to me.
Makes sense. You got to kind of pick, like it's like music almost. You can't really make an album and have.
Yeah, you don't want to go to a club and hear the same song 10 times.
Or like if you're going to a rock and roll bar, you don't want them to switch it to opera.
No, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, let's say someone just came to you hypothetically and said, "Here's $1 million. I want you to run a promotion for me." What kind of promotion would you do? Like
PWA.
No, but like
and
what?
You're fired.
What would your focus be on? Stories, bringing in outside talent, that
Yeah,
worldwide,
I really
or-
enjoy the you don't know what's going to happen. Like I don't like that. Yeah, the idea of social media and stuff like that, where they give away the storylines and stuff before you watch. Like I'm not interested. I want to be surprised. I like surprises. I want them to see hard hitting action, but I guess kayfabe everything. Like I wouldn't tell anybody anything.
Nice.
Yeah.
Make it more realistic, like.
I know you're not gonna believe it's real because people aren't like everybody's well past that, and because we've given it all away. But the more we could make it kayfabe,
I think people
the more
would
the fans
want
would
that.
buy in. Yeah.
I think people want to. That's how they escape from real life, is
Yeah.
to maybe believe this stuff that's not real is real,
Yeah.
kind of thing, right? Something
Yeah.
like that. So like you said, unpredictable maybe, but like can like you watch like WWE and you basically know everything that's happening and stuff like
Well,
that.
they're always gonna trick you occasionally, but like I'm not watching it for that anymore. I don't think, because they don't do that. You know, like they're not like trying to trick you. Like they're not trying to say, oh, who's coming in the limousine anymore. That's not the style they do anymore, right?
Fair enough, yeah, that's true.
So you're not trying to guess. You're just trying to go, well, this guy. Now it's all like they're all the last couple of weeks. All they do is shoot interviews on TV, right? But they're not shoot their work because they're on TV, right?
Trying to trick the fans and
Yeah.
making them think
that they're buying, that they're seeing what's going on behind the stage, because that's what they want.
They're not supposed to see this, but let's promote it. Let's show you an hour later on the show. Hey, this was what you weren't supposed to see that we showed you. Jeez, man. Like you have such a great mind, and like you're like even teaching me now. Like I look at things differently, and I like to think I'm very smart and I see things. But it's always nice to hear different people's opinions too, right? Like,
Everybody's got one.
Does anybody ever blow you with some of their ideas, or?
No, well, I mean, I like to see some, the VCW guys in Toronto. They did that old school stuff for a while. But
Yeah.
I thought that was fantastic stuff.
Even
to the point where I tried to get myself involved in it.
Didn't they have YouTube or like a Rogers show?
Yeah,
or
that
something?
Hutch guy. He's got good ideas. That guy's, he's pretty interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, what's like the future for you? Like now, all of a sudden, like you said, you just kind of organically got thrown in a match, and then I guess you enjoyed it, or you just felt like the fans wanted you, so you keep doing it.
Yeah, I just keep doing it. Yeah, I mean, as long as they like it, I'll keep doing it. So.
But like it used to just be part of the story for PWA, but now you've branched out and you're like working 5 or 6 different promotions.
Yeah.
Is that something you're like, hey, book me, I'm trying to get booked, or just?
I'm not trying to get booked. Like, if you like it and you want me on the show, I'm more than happy to do it. Pretty reasonable, and but I mean, if it makes sense for you and makes sense for me, then I'll do it. I'm not chasing it, right? Like it's just something I'm doing. It's fun.
So you're definitely enjoying it. Do you have like a, hey, I'm gonna retire this year, or hey, I'm just gonna ride it out? Like, do you have
heart attack in the ring?
Day by day, kind of just.
I'm dying in that ring.
And it was so fun too when we got to be a tag team. It just changed my working style so much, because we could go out there, like before I'd wrestle a 9-minute match and do like all these moves and could barely walk the next day, and here we'd have like 25-minute matches, and I felt so good physically the next day, and plus the crowd was chanting it.
Yeah, you get more reaction, right? So like,
jeez.
The one time we did Wrestle Canada Day, we only had what, 4 minutes, because some of our friends went really long in front of us, and that was probably one of the best matches I've ever had.
Well, it's a great pop.
Yeah, like in front of 5,000 people.
Oh yeah, right before the main event.
Yeah, you hit me with a blockbuster, and that was it.
Yeah, I even ran around.
I was the bad guy.
And knocked some kid overs. Knocked a whole row of kids over, like because I was just running around celebrating.
Yeah.
I love that, and I have so much fun. And so, what's your favorite part of wrestling? Do you like wrestling, managing, coming up with stories?
I like the promotion, the booking aspect of it. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, just coming up with stories or different matchups.
Everything, like from putting the card together, like anything to do with talent, putting the cards together, putting the matches together, deciding who's telling the stories, like the arc, where they're going, like down the road. That's what I want to. Where is this going to? Like, not just one matches. Like that's why spot shows are tough for me. Because, like I'd rather have a spot show where I tell a story from the beginning of the show to the end of the show. That's the show. But I'd rather than
like a movie.
Yeah, like a movie. But I'd rather do a long term thing. Like we're kind of what we're doing now.
Set it up here and then.
Yeah, that's why we do monthly at the Alpine Club because we can tell stories. But
and they continue. Usually end up at the anniversary.
The most fun part is when things go wrong, right? Like this guy can't show up or this. So then how do you go? Like how do you weave in and out of that, right?
So do you I know you work for a couple different companies. Do you ever look at other promotions you're not a part of and like scout talent or are you a fan of all wrestling?
When I go to the other shows and stuff, I'm looking for guys that we can use in our stuff. But I mean, because I'm like, oh, that guy would be really good at A or B, you know. So I'm always looking for that. So because I'm a fan, but like when things stick out, I really notice. Like there's money in that, or we could develop that into this. You know, like when you were sitting on the sidelines doing nothing, I'm like, why aren't you wrestling? Because at the time at the Elements, you were crazy, flying off ladders, doing everything like that.
I had like 4 ladder matches
and
there.
You had name recognition around town, but you're just sitting at home doing nothing. Bring out the vest, get out there and smile and wave, and I bet you're gonna get the same reaction you did then as you do now doing nothing. And
it's totally true, and it's because I had a lot of injuries. I could physically do what I used to do, but it wouldn't be smart, and it wouldn't be like in the long run. Like then it would just cut my career even shorter, right? So I got to try and. It's same with you. Like you could do a lot more than you do, but at the same time, then you.
Well, every time I do anything, Jeff Black says, "I'm amazed you can do that."
I know. I called him out on it the last show. I was like, "Why do you always seem so surprised?"
Because we don't like you, Jeff.
Now he's on Facebook all the time. The guy wasn't on Facebook for a year, and now he's posting 3 times a day.
So, what's next for you?
For me, I don't know. I'm just loving it.
The only reason I came on the show because it was the last show, and you know why? Because I hated your show.
Oh. Hey man, then you're getting your wish. It's over. Are you gonna watch this episode?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
No?
Yeah, of course. I'm just yeah. So what do you want to do now?
Me?
Yeah.
In wrestling, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I just want to keep trying to get respect. Like to me, I don't know why.
Why?
It's always been about
who's disrespecting Elian Habanero?
I don't know. Maybe
Listen,
they're not.
If you're out there right now and you're disrespecting this man, you need to call us right now on the phone. Message us, call us, whatever. Show up at a show and tell us why you don't like him because you're hurting his feelings, and we want to know right now. All right, get on the phone, call the number. We'll flash it at the bottom.
I don't even think people have said that. Maybe it's because they're not saying good things, or maybe I'm just so hard on myself. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know. And it's got less and less. Before, I just wanted to be one of the boys so bad and have the respect of all the workers. And But now I'm like, I just want to have the respect of the fans more than the workers. So it's changed like that for me. But I'm just grateful now because before I kind of took it for granted. Wrestling was my whole life. Now,
see, if we kayfabed everyone, you wouldn't have that problem.
Fair enough, and it's done. The Willow show is done. I won't have to. And I know you hate that too, because you even commented like I did a tribute to you on the show, and you're like, okay, now stop telling my personal stories and stuff. Like,
it's alright.
What are you gonna do? But no, I'm just having a blast right now, and I'm just feel blessed to be in the position I'm in to get to wrestle every day, because that's what or not every day, but every month or whatever.
This is wrestling. This is wrestling every day. You wrestle every day. This is wrestling.
True, I'm putting on a show.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I said I'd do it for a year, and I just wanted to prove a point, and I did. And it's not really like I put on a big rant yesterday. It's not really about how disappointed I am. It was time to end it, whether good or bad. But I just wanted to put a thing out there, not for me, but like let's support each other. Like if somebody else comes out with a project tomorrow, just support them. Like I don't know. I just think people are.
I think that's a necessity for our business. Like independent wrestling needs the support of each other. That's what you're saying.
I don't know if it's a necessity. I just think as being nice people. I don't know. I don't know why
Well, you're too nice.
we hate on people.
Everybody out there loves you, and you need to know it, and you need to shut up now. It's over.
Thanks. Fair enough. So should we end it then?
That's
we gotta go bowling now?
Yeah, let's go bowling.
All right. Yeah, that's a great way to end it. Episode 365 of the W.I.L.L.I.W Show. I hope you had a fun ride. I had a fun ride. Now it's time to focus more on
the Lenny Lilac Show coming next week.
There you go. I hope you'll have me on as a guest. So, like or you get a leg drop, comment or you get a clothesline, subscribe. Well, I don't see any point subscribing anymore, but
now you're gonna get 1 million views.
I'm gonna share the old shows on memories. Like if it pops up memory, look back today, I'll share it if it was a good one.
Yeah. Get 1,000 views and you'll do another show.
Yeah. No, I'm open to offers. Like someone wants to pay me. Hey, you want to pay me to have a W.I.L.L.I.W show? I'm keeping the shirts up for the meantime. So that's it. Let's end it like that. The W.I.L.L.I.W show is done. Thanks for everybody for supporting me. Thanks to Lenny and all the other great guests I've had on the show. I'm your host, Elian Habanero. Cuba!